So I asked on Facebook what movie I should do next. And I got a couple responses, and for reasons which I explained to them on Facebook, I didn't want to do them or couldn't do them. So here are my favorite Martin Scorsese films. Not his best, but just my favorite. I have seen 9 Martin Scorsese films that I could think of, and I looked through the whole list of his movies, so he's directed like 53 movies. I'm not going to watch all of them. And actually, other than just a couple, I've seen almost all his big important ones. So here we go. Oh, yeah! Number 9. Coming in at number 9 is obviously my least favorite Martin Scorsese film, which doesn't mean it's bad. It was just really long and actually really kind of boring, but extremely well made. And I'm talking about The Aviator. I'm covering up the other two. The Aviator. DiCaprio in The Aviator is amazing. A great acting performance. I mean, top notch. This movie was nominated for Best Picture and a couple other Academy Awards. I don't think it should have won Best Picture, but it's a good movie. It's just really, really long. Number 8. Coming in at number 8 is Shutter Island. Now, I loved Shutter Island. I really did. And I was one of the few people, I guess, that didn't see the end coming. A lot of people saw it coming. I'm not going to spoil anything. But DiCaprio, again, is in another Scorsese film. I think he's in like 4 or 5 Scorsese films. I'll keep track here in a second. But I love this movie. It's a great thriller. Loved all the acting. Blew my mind at the end, as it seems to happen a lot with me. I don't guess endings very well. But I highly suggest this movie. I really liked it, but there's just 7 more that I like more. Number 7. Number 7 on my list is a movie that got nominated for 10 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Maybe should have won Best Picture when it came out, and I'm talking about Gangs in New York. Now, Gangs in New York has Daniel Day-Lewis, DiCaprio again, and Daniel Day-Lewis' performance in this is amazing. When it came off of this and then did There Will Be Blood after this movie, kind of the same style-ish, but, I mean, he just was excellent in this and then just took it to the next level in There Will Be Blood. So, I loved this movie. I liked his others more. Great movie, check it out. It's definitely rated R. Very violent, but tells a good story. I'm not sure if it's a true story or not. I know parts of it are, parts of it aren't. Still a great story. Loved the movie. Number 6. Coming in at number 6 is the movie that I think should have won Best Picture last year. I was very, very upset it did not. I'm talking about Hugo. Hugo, I thought, was a phenomenal movie. I loved it to death. I have not bought it yet because it's like $40. Not really, but it's expensive. And I don't really have the kind of money to buy that. So if it's not $5 or $8, I'm not going to buy it. So I don't own it yet. I don't think people quite understood what was so good about Hugo. The story, I need to watch it again before I get too in-depth, but how deep the story was is a lot deeper than most people notice. And I just really liked how they incorporated the kid's story with the backstory of Ben Kingsley's character. And I just really liked that and how they brought it back to what old cinema was when it started and who it was behind it. And I just really liked the origin story that was there. And that's at number 6. Number 5. Number 5, 4, 3, and 2 I think could all be interchanged and mixed around. But just for the sake of this, I had to pick a way to do it. And so here we go. At number 5 is Raging Bull. Raging Bull, I think, is one of the greatest sports movies ever made. It's about a boxer, Jake LaMotta. It's more about his story than the actual boxing, which is what I really liked about it. It's not as much like Rocky, how it's like all about the boxing. This really doesn't have that much boxing in it. But when it does, it's great. One of the camera shots, it starts in one of the rooms of him like warming up, and it follows him all the way out, follows up. Then he gets in the ring, and they like start the fight all in one camera shot. Loved it. It was like a 25-second camera pan, which in a movie, if you've never noticed, is a long time. So I really liked the way that Scorsese directed it. The feel of the movie, I watched the special features. There's certain scenes where it's like foggy because of the way LaMotta, the boxer, is feeling at the time. And so I really liked how he did this kind of stuff. And it was old school stuff. Like he would light candles under the camera to get it the fuzzy feeling. You don't see that anymore. Really liked that. And Robert De Niro was amazing in this movie. So was Joe Pesci. Both of those are in like 3 of Scorsese's films. They're both phenomenal together. They're brothers in this movie. They fit perfectly. Loved this movie. Number 4. Coming in at number 4, I think 4 and 3 are like almost the same movie, but number 4 is Goodfellas. Goodfellas is a phenomenal movie about gangs, and Roger Ebert said that it's the greatest movie ever made about organized crime, even better than The Godfather. What? So it's a great movie, not just by my opinion. Everybody likes this movie that's seen it. It's pretty hardcore, but it was like organized crime at its finest. I really liked the movie. Again, great backstory and character development. All of Scorsese's films have that stuff. Loved it. And again, Pesci and De Niro were in this. Ray Liotta was in this. He was phenomenal. Lots of great acting. This movie, I think, should have won Best Picture in 1990. Did not. I don't know why. I need to look and see what did win in 1990, but it was phenomenal. Check it out. Definitely have to watch this movie if you like movies. Number 3. Coming at number 3, like I said, is Casino. Casino, in my opinion, was a lot like Goodfellas, only it had to do with a casino, and that's why I liked this one more than Goodfellas. It is longer. It's like 3 hours, 20 minutes long. It's pretty much De Niro owns casinos, and he's like the high guy up there, and about all the stuff that goes behind the scenes in all the casinos in like Las Vegas and stuff. Joe Pesci's like the thug. He's the guy they send in to do all their dirty work and like kill people and beat them up and stuff. So he's kind of like, he's really short if you've never noticed, but he's like packs a punch. He's awesome in this movie. I think this movie does not get the kind of credit it deserves. This movie was phenomenal. And I think because I saw it before Goodfellas is the reason I really like it more. I saw them like back to back, like 2 nights in a row. And I just think Casino was more enjoyable for me to watch. It was longer, but acting was like the exact same. Story was a little different, but like I said, it had casinos in it. What's not to like about that? So, that's number 3. 3. Number 2. You might be able to guess what my number 2 and number 1 movies are, but number 2, I think, is a movie that didn't get enough credit either, because Rocky came out the same year in 1976, and that is Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver, starring Robert De Niro, is such an overlooked movie when people talk about greatest movies ever made. Taxi Driver could seriously be considered one of the top 10 greatest movies ever made. I'm not going to go ahead and say that, but it could be considered that. It was phenomenal. Again, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro and DiCaprio are like in every Scorsese film that's any good. All but Hugo. Hugo's the only one that doesn't have one of those two in it. He knows how to pick good actors, and he knows how to work with them. De Niro in this movie was phenomenal. It's all about a guy's life. He's a taxi driver. His life sucks. And he finds this girl that he likes, and she doesn't really like him back. And then he finds this Jodie Foster, who's 14 in the movie. She's actually 12, but she was 14 when she did it. And she's like a prostitute, and she's like 12 or 14. And you're like, oh. And like he goes and gets her out of that lifestyle. And I just love the driving force behind this. This movie is the #1 movie that made me go, I love film. That's the movie right there. Like this is the one that when I saw it the first time I saw it, I hated it. To be honest, I did not like it the first time I saw it. But once I watched it again, knowing what the movie was about, and I was expecting a big shoot 'em up movie because look at the back of that. You think there's going to be a ton of action in this movie? No, there's really not. And once I knew that, oh man, I just love this movie to death. It's one of the very few. I can probably name 3 movies that I get excited when I'm going to watch this movie. And this one, I try not to watch it too much because I'm going to overwatch it. But like when I'm going to watch this movie, I get like really excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch Taxi Driver. Like, I don't know what it is about that movie. It also led to the shooting of Ronald Reagan. The guy was obsessed with this movie and like kind of does what he does in the movie and just went and shot the president. Like, this movie had influence. And it did not win Best Picture. Rocky did that year. People can argue, and Joel, I know you're a huge fan of Rocky, but I think Taxi Driver was the better movie. I can see why they picked Rocky for Best Picture. It's that kind of movie. But Taxi Driver, check it out if you haven't. It's very hardcore for a 1976 movie. I mean, there's stuff in it that's definitely rated R. Don't let kids watch this movie. But check it out. It's my second Scorsese film of all time, obviously. So, yeah, watch it. Number 1. Number 1, you should probably be able to guess by now, especially if you've watched my other videos, because I've mentioned it before, and that is The Departed. I'm only covering up the others. And The Departed is by far my favorite Scorsese film. It's my number 3 favorite film of all time. So I just love this movie to death. I have like a 10-minute spoiler-filled review on my channel, so check that out if you've seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to watch the spoiler parts. I tell you when they're coming, but the end of this movie literally blows your mind. Just, if you've seen it, you understand. Movie's awesome. Acting in it, Matt Damon, phenomenal. I really do not like Matt Damon as an actor, loved him in this movie. You would love to hate him in this movie, and you will see right away what I mean. DiCaprio's in this, obviously. Phenomenal. He wasn't nominated, neither was Matt Damon for any Academy Awards. I don't know why. Jack Nicholson is in this. Jack Nicholson's amazing, as always. He wasn't nominated. Mark Wahlberg is in this. How did Mark Wahlberg get nominated for Best Supporting Actor in this movie? Of all the guys, like, Matt Damon and DiCaprio give two of their best performances of all time. In my opinion, Damon's best. Like, absolute best performance. Maybe not because of Good Will Hunting. He's really good in that. But he's phenomenal. DiCaprio is just amazing. And neither one gets nominated. Mark Wahlberg, who says like 6 different words and 5 of them are cuss words, gets nominated. I was like, what? But at least somebody did. This did win Best Picture, rightfully so. This was Scorsese's only Best Picture winner. I counted, he could have 7 Best Pictures. He could have Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Hugo, Gangs of New York, The Aviator, I messed up my count here, and The Departed. There's a lot of them he could have. This one did win, rightfully so. Love this movie. Go check it out. Oh my goodness, I've watched it so many times, and it's so confusing. Rats chasing rats in different areas of the police and everything, and the mob, and this is my favorite movie about crime of all time. Thank you, Colin Anderson, for suggesting this on Facebook. My next video, I have no idea what it's going to be. Hit me up if you want me to do one. What is your favorite Martin Scorsese film of all time? Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe. Subscribe to Facebook so you can comment on my stuff like this, so you will be able to suggest what you want next. And until next time, peace.